Also known as Emperor Clones. Why are you raising a group of madmen, collecting gold fingers? The looting process is twisty and interesting, and, girl development, a huge meteorite collided with the blue star, instantly destroying the city where Yin Feng lived. Too fast, death has no pain. The next second, his consciousness had already appeared in his new body. At first glance, this is a vibrant male body. Is this a time travel? Why isn't there any extra memory? It is also impossible to determine age, let alone one's own identity. Just suddenly lying naked on the open road. It's like this world suddenly has an extra self. The voice of the cute girl rang out in my mind. Congratulations on awakening the plundering system, can plunder all hosts. Chapter 1. Welcome to the Naked Parade. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Small suggestion, just store half of your brain. In his 30s, Yin Feng had just taken out a loan to buy a house and was preparing to marry a plump woman. Just as he was imagining the good days of his wife and children heating up the Kong in the future. A natural disaster has arrived without warning. A massive meteorite collided with the blue star, instantly destroying the city where he lived. Too fast, dying without any pain. In the next moment, Yin Feng's consciousness had already appeared in his new body. You have awakened the highest level gold finger system and are currently loading. Please be patient with the host. A little girl's voice suddenly appeared in my mind, cute and adorable. Yin Feng was bewildered and immediately excited. In his past life, he was a fan of online literature, and after crossing over, he finally awakened his golden finger. Still at the highest level. The highest level. Is this thing still graded? At first glance, this is a vibrant young male body. Looking down, although there is a hazy feeling, the 8-pack abs and mermaid lines are all in place. Why not any additional fusion memory? Unable to determine age and identity, just naked. Suddenly lying on an open road. It seems that this world has created an extra self out of thin air. The head is heavy, there is some swelling and pain on the right thigh, and the elbow has been scratched, with several obvious blood marks. The originally blurred vision gradually became clearer. There was only a strangely shaped truck overturning ahead, with the rear hatch wide open. There is a coffin-shaped box inside, surrounded by dense tubes. The box was damaged by some unknown force, with an irregular large hole at the top and a sticky blue liquid leaking from the front side. My whole body was also covered in the same blue liquid, with a strong sour odor. It can be roughly inferred that after the car accident, I was thrown out of that box. Standing up in place, I moved my body for a while. It was very smooth and flexible, and the injuries I suffered were basically negligible. With a faint sound, thick smoke began to roll from the top of the truck. Boom. A small black cloud rose into the sky in the firelight, and the whole car exploded and shattered. The shockwave stirred up a strong wind, blowing Yin Feng down heavily. His survival instinct made him quickly get up and instinctively run in the opposite direction of the explosion. Desperately, although running at full speed, my heart is not panicking or panting, and my new body seems very strong. After 10 minutes, the little girl's voice appeared again, clearly much excited. Oh my, I finally finished loading. I couldn't speak just now, so I was suffocated. Quickly plunder the first one and expand the blue space. Let's meet and discuss in detail the first one. What the first one? Yin Feng was confused and slowed down his running speed. I'm too anxious. Let me introduce myself first. I am an advanced plundering system with intelligence. We can plunder and take possession of any abilities, golden fingers, or any system. Plundering. Need to plunder. Sister, shouldn't I, now? I don't have any abilities, do I? The little girl's voice was filled with surprise. Brother, did you just call me sister? At this moment, Yin Feng could feel a blue light cluster appearing in his mind, in a hazy state that was not yet very solid. I really like it when you call me my sister. Previously, I couldn't confirm whether my future body should become male or female. Then let's be my younger sister. I want to become a woman, that's all I've decided. Yin Feng felt somewhat incredulous and said, answer my question just now, do I have no ability at all? He, brother, you are indeed a weak chicken now, just an ordinary person. Wait. It's a bit strange, you don't seem like a simple ordinary person. Oh, forget it, anyway, you're a lot of trash right now, can only slowly plunder and gradually become stronger. There are more or less hosts in this world who possess psychic systems. As long as we are lucky enough to encounter these hosts, there is a chance for plunder. You must disguise yourself and play a harmless role as a human being. Let these hosts relax their vigilance against you. This requires you to play the role of a pig and eat the tiger well. Yin Feng seemed to understand this passage, but he didn't quite understand it. He said a lot but didn't get to the main point. Sister, how should we plunder? Oh, I'm sorry, but she's just been born and doesn't have a body yet, so it's inevitable that she's a bit anxious. As you plunder various power systems, I will gradually acquire my body and grow up. As for how to plunder, it's actually quite simple. As long as you stay within a 5-meter range with the host who owns the system for 48 hours, you can automatically plunder the other party's system for your use. After successful plundering, the original host will lose all the benefits and abilities brought to him by the system, including all attribute improvements brought about by system upgrades. In short, it will reset everything to zero. The system returns to its initial state. Brother, you will become the sole owner of this system. Isn't it very enjoyable? Sigh, I'm so tired, I'll keep sleeping for a while. Hello, sister, I still have a lot of questions. There is no more sound. Was it an illusion just now? No, the blue halo in my mind is still there. I'm both thirsty and hungry. Let's escape this deserted road first. I don't know how long I've been running. Pedestrians and vehicles gradually appeared on the streets. Preliminary impression. The level of civilization in this new world is similar to that of the original Blue Star, and it is likely to be another parallel world. A sprinkler truck passed by Yin Feng, and the high-intensity water washed away the blue mucus and blood stains on his body. The scratch has also healed a bit. This body suddenly turned white and clean, with slightly damp hair, and the whole person felt completely comfortable. Suddenly, at the corner of the intersection ahead, there were bursts of noisy voices coming from a group of men and women who were also naked. About 40 people walked in line. Everyone saw a bright light in front of Yin Feng's eyes. Hey, there's another colleague waiting for us ahead. My hair is wet and my skin is so white. Shout, it looks like he came out just after taking a shower. He's quite enthusiastic. Wow, it's a handsome little puppy. Is that the size of a normal person over there? A bald-bearded uncle, the leader of this group, patted Yin Feng's shoulder. Little brother, is it your first time attending a rally? Don't be fooled, come with us to the bustling road parade. Refuse to eat animals, refuse to wear fur, start from us vegetarians. Yin Feng, who reacted from his fear and anxiety, was momentarily stunned before nodding in response. It's also good to alleviate the embarrassment of not wearing clothes, so I can only follow these people to go naked parade. You need to quickly understand what kind of world this is. A group of people, although naked, were all carrying clothes in their backpacks, while Yin Feng had nothing. He stared closely at the backpacks of the people around him, trying to find a way to get dressed first and then quietly leave the parade. At present, this is the only way to plan. I followed the army to a bustling road section. The crowd pulled up various banners and began shouting slogans like, "No animals, no fur." In order to blend in with the atmosphere, Yin Feng also symbolically shouted a few words. This kind of domineering demonstration resulted in vehicle congestion, causing a large number of pedestrians to stop and watch. The onlookers all took out their phones to take photos. Yin Feng felt a bit ashamed and didn't have time to observe many naked middle-aged women around him. Their figures really don't have much to appreciate. Either it's extra fat, or it's like pork ribs, it won't trigger any evil thoughts. After shouting the slogan for about 10 minutes, the sound of the police siren rang out. 3 black armored vehicles flew in. 20 fully armed personnel jumped down with guns and quickly surrounded the crowd in the nude parade. By adding a bookshelf, you can add an extra 23 centimeters out of thin air. You can freely distribute any part of your body. It's especially comfortable. Chapter 2. Interrogation in the face of the Eye of Truth. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. As the first middle-aged man dressed in a sky blue military uniform with a cadre-like appearance, his eyes were bright and lively, and he was serious with a hint of abnormality. Now we need to conduct a verification. Are the website registration personnel participating in the parade consistent with the on-site personnel? The organizer of the demonstration, the long-haired uncle, confidently replied. Everyone has registered and reported their real names on the Yamen website. We understand the rules. After taking out a tablet and scanning the crowd, the cadre's gaze finally fell on Yin Feng. You have no record of real name registration and are suspected of illegally participating in nude parades and rallies. We are now implementing a mandatory arrest for you, for soldiers immediately put guns at Yin Feng's head. I'll catch this person, you guys got loose when you put on your clothes. An explosion occurred on the road in the special control zone, and the whole city will be under martial law for a day. Seeing the unquestionable authority of the cadres, the long-haired uncle was so scared that he spat out his tongue and then called out to the crowd. Everyone put on your clothes and go home. Everyone showed no resistance and immediately obediently followed suit, putting on their clothes and quickly dispersing. Yin Feng was handcuffed by armed personnel and roughly pushed into the armored vehicle. The cadre sat across from him, glanced at Yin Feng's waist, pursed his lips a few times, and threw a helmet over. Cover that thing. I don't know why, but in the face of this scene, Yin Feng had no trace of fear in his heart. After crossing over, there are only memories of the past life and no memories of the new body, which is very strange and completely different from what is described in the online article. He really wants to figure out who this body is. What is the background? To travel to this new world, one must always obtain a legal identity in order to continue to survive. Whether caught or not, one's identity will soon be revealed. The cadre lit a cigarette as if intentionally saying to other soldiers. The military friction with neighboring countries has just begun, and instead of arranging for Zhao Yong to go to the front line, they let me do these meaningless things. He stared at Yin Feng with both eyes, his pupils turning red, and an oppressive atmosphere enveloped the car. My ability is within a distance of 1 meter. If I ask you anything, you will definitely answer truthfully. Now tell me, who are you? Why don't you register with your real name on the Yamen website and participate in nude demonstrations? Yin Feng suddenly felt a palpitations. Faced with Zhao Yong's red pupils, I must be honest. Otherwise, the heart may suddenly stop and die at any time. My name is Yin Feng. At the same time. A neighboring country, a powerful country. In a magnificent building in the capital. The fat man, who looked like a powerful figure, pointed at a beautiful woman in military uniform and became furious, pointing his nose. What are you talking about? The vehicle transporting the clone of the second prince exploded. Who did it? This is the most secretive thing for the royal family. You, the captain of the Imperial Guard, are too derelict. The clone exploded into pieces, and how can the second prince's increasingly weakened organs be updated? Lingua's technological level in this area is much higher than ours, but our military strength is stronger. It seems that we need to plan in detail with your majesty the major event of sending troops to Lingua. Inside an armored vehicle. Yin Feng's eyes did not dodge at all, staring calmly at Zhao Yong's red pupils. My name is Yin Feng, I just crossed over from the Blue Star. He immediately pointed his index finger at his head and spoke very sincerely. This new body has no memory, can you identify me? Sir, I don't understand what you said about registering on the Yamen website. I was walking well on the road, and this group of people without clothes dragged me to the parade. After speaking these words, Yin Feng's palpitations disappeared. He was telling the truth, but he didn't mention the exploded truck. Since Zhao Yong didn't ask, there's no need to answer too many details myself. Everyone inside the armored vehicle opened their mouths in surprise. What exactly is this guy talking about? It's nonsense. Zhao Yong was taken aback for a moment. His eyes became even darker, and he leaned his head forward, with the tip of his nose almost touching Yin Feng's ear. This kind of ultra-close range intensified Yin Feng's palpitations and even suffocated him. Tell me, who the hell are you? The soldiers responsible for escorting on both sides were also influenced by Zhao Yong's ability, and their whole bodies trembled as they began to gasp for breath. Yin Feng's tone couldn't help but increase several times, repeating the answer just now. The palpitations immediately disappeared, and breathing was smooth. A comfortable feeling filled the whole body. Looking at the joyful expression on Yin Feng's face, Zhao Yong slowly leaned his head back and swallowed a mouthful of saliva in frustration. Immediately after, there was shortness of breath, and beads of sweat appeared on the tip of the nose and forehead, as if they had just finished intense exercise. He is very confident in his abilities. Facing ordinary people, as long as they use their abilities to ask questions, they will feel a sense of relief and comfort in their bodies after speaking the corresponding truth. On the contrary, once there is the thought of lying, the heart rate will become abnormal, breathing will be difficult, and life will be more difficult than death. And the young man in front of me must be telling the truth. He lit his cigarette and took a fierce puff, exhaling the smoke with a sigh. Damn it, I've encountered another mental illness. As a first-class soldier of Lingua, at a sensitive moment of slight military friction with Quanghua, Zhao Yong was suddenly transferred from the army and appointed as the chief of security law enforcement in the capital. The order issued by Shangfeng in recent days is to arrest the spy of Quanghua who is lurking in the capital. Anyone who encounters suspicious individuals who are abnormal will be arrested and retried first. Zhao Yong is well aware that he is not good at catching people. The reason why he was appointed as a law enforcement officer was because of his special ability. The eye of truth. As long as the object is completely controlled within a distance of 1 meter, it will speak the truth. Although Zhao Yong didn't understand a word of what Yin Feng said, he was not unfamiliar with the word time travel. Just 3 days ago, a middle-aged man with a flustered expression and strange behavior was arrested. With his ability to speak the word time travel, he also uttered it. It's different from what the young man in front of me said about crossing from the blue star. That guy said he crossed over from a parallel universe called Earth. Zhao Yong has no concept of crossing and does not know what a parallel universe is. What blue star, what Earth, are the delusions of these two goods? Under his simple judgment, both of these abnormal individuals were treated as mental illnesses. Red light rose again in his eyes, but it was much weaker than before. Zhao Yong slowly spoke up. Tell me your ID number. Chapter 3. Sister, can you tell me the details of Plunder? You are listening at Novel Full.audio. This time, the heart didn't feel so uncomfortable anymore, and the power of the tongue of truth was significantly weakened. But faced with Zhao Yong's inquiry, Yin Feng also had to say. My ID card number is 6996. Zhao Yong was even more certain that the person in front of him was undoubtedly insane, as the number format was completely incorrect. Lu Chao, who is said to have passed through the earth, can still tell 2 complete ID numbers after a little memory. One is wrong, while the other is correct. After inquiry, his correct ID number is an old rascal who helps financial companies collect usury in Beijing. This guy's appearance also perfectly matches the profile picture on his ID card. Lu Chao said that his 2 memories were fused with each other, and he couldn't distinguish which memory was real. His brain was about to explode. Zhao Yong confirmed that this guy has schizophrenia and delusions. And the Yin Feng in front of him, after comparing his avatars, could not find any personal information and could only be judged as having amnesic mental illness. It is highly likely that they came illegally from overseas, but they will never be spies of the powerful country. Because the pupils of truth can see through all lies. Zhao Yong felt secretly delighted and had a premonition that he was going to become rich. His brother Law's family runs a mental hospital in the capital. Linked to the Yamen, there is a dedicated detention area for suspects with mental illnesses. Yin Feng, a mentally ill patient who cannot distinguish his identity, can just be sent there. As a missing person as the subject of drug research. Selling an unidentified drug tester can earn at least 150,000 yuan. Smoking cigars, drinking fine wine, and doing money is a good thing. Zhao Yong knocked on the front car window and shouted to the driver's cab, "Send this guy to the detention center in the mental hospital first, and I'll interrogate him in a few days." Yin Feng became anxious, not expecting this result. What kind of ghost is the detention center in the mental hospital? I thought these seemingly police Yamen personnel could help me fulfill my identity in this new world. I didn't expect to be treated as a mental illness. Facing Zhao Yong's pupils of truth, I must honestly tell the truth about what happened when I traveled from the Blue Star. This is an unsolvable bug. The soldiers holding guns on both sides were tightly gripping their arms, unable to move at all. Fortunately, Zhao Yong had completely relaxed his guard against himself. He looked out the window, sucked heavily on his cigar, with a mischievous smile on his face, unsure of what he was thinking. At present, we can only continue to act foolish and see if we can find an opportunity to escape. Think carefully. As a mental illness in their eyes, it's not bad, at least it won't cause any bigger trouble. Yin Feng said nothing and began to close his eyes and pretend to sleep. Next, it should be easier to concentrate and deal with the doctors and nurses in the mental hospital. It's also worrying enough. How should we smoothly escape from the mental hospital next? At this point, the walkie-talkie rang. Zhao Yong, you are the closest to the road in the special control zone. Go and see the wreckage of the vehicle explosion immediately. Got it. Zhao Yong's face showed excitement, and he was very interested in this exciting thing. This special controlled highway belongs to the border between Lingua and Quangua. There is now a small military conflict at the border between the two countries, and every now and then there is a bare-handed fight. However, both sides have restraint, as any slight mishap could lead to a formal military conflict at any time. The foreign ministers of the two countries are currently in negotiations. At this sensitive moment, a mysterious vehicle explosion occurred on the road belonging to the Lingua area, and it must be dealt with as soon as possible to avoid causing greater disturbances. Zhao Yong issued instructions to 3 armored vehicles through the walkie-talkie. Turn around and accelerate to the special control road immediately. Obey me. A burst of rapid braking turned around, causing Yin Feng's body to start swinging violently. At this point, if pretending to sleep again seems too unnatural, one can only open their eyes. Seeing the scenery on the roadside, it was the route he had escaped naked all the way. Feeling surprised, why did this special girl go back? The situation has become more complicated. If Zhao Yong uses the eye of truth to ask himself if it is related to the vehicle explosion. What should I do? Faced with the eye of truth, one can only speak the truth. Will it bring even greater trouble? When feeling anxious, Yin Feng's mind was stirred up, and the little girl's voice appeared again. Hey, listen up. The man in front of me has the power of the eye of truth. Let's start plundering the first ability now. I urgently need to replenish my energy in order to grow my body. Sister, you finally woke up. Can you stop sleeping? Yin Feng exclaimed excitedly, but soon realized that something was wrong and swallowed the next words back. This sentence did not attract too much attention from Zhao Yong. He tilted his head to look at Yin Feng, threw the cigar he had smoked to the end of his hand out of the car window, and ordered the accompanying soldiers to. Damn it, this mental illness is starting to talk nonsense, it's too annoying. Find a rag to cover his mouth. Obey me. The soldier took off his thick gloves and roughly stuffed them into Yin Feng's mouth. This kind of treatment, treated like a beast, made Yin Feng very depressed. Brother, there's no need to make a sound when communicating with me. Just say it in your heart, no one can hear it. The little girl's voice became extremely gentle. After the sweet, brother, call, Yin Feng's mood inexplicably improved, and the little girl's voice was very healing. The depression swept away, and my emotions stabilized. I thought to myself, sister, plundering this person's true language pupil ability can expand the blue space. We will meet. Well, it's like this, now that you are 1.5 meters away from this host, the timing has started. Don't worry, if the distance between you and him exceeds 5 meters midway, the timing will be interrupted, because timing can be accumulated. In short, within a distance of 5 meters, repeatedly accumulating for 48 hours can successfully plunder brother. Do you understand the rules now at this moment? An orange system panel appeared in Yin Feng's mind, which could be called up and closed. According to his heart. The Eye of Truth's power predation begins. Another time progress bar has appeared, with a 48-hour countdown format that is decreasing minute by second. Sister, I have seen the panel, which means that if the power host in front of me is 5 meters away from me, the countdown will pause. When he enters the 5-meter range, the countdown will continue until it accumulates to 48 hours and completely plunders his power. But brother, you must use your brain and do everything possible to ensure that these hosts have more safe contact with you within a range of 5 meters, no matter if you are coaxing, deceiving, coquettish, or playing pranks, just save enough 48 hours to achieve the ultimate goal of plundering success. After you become stronger, let's use other methods. Currently, you have nothing, so that's all we can do. Brother, please feel aggrieved. Alright, that's all for now. Currently, my energy is limited and I need to go to sleep. You need to quickly plunder the first one to charge me so that I can grow my body. Wait, why are you sleeping again? Are you a pig? A yawn came, and there was no more sound in Yin Feng's mind. The blue light had also become dim, as if enveloped in a mist. Yin Feng felt a bit helpless as he traveled to this strange world and unexpectedly awakened such a strange system. But having a cute girl with a sweet voice interacting with me is quite nice. The little sister said she is still growing her body, which is a bit of a cultivation game. Plundering other hosts, gradually becoming stronger, and even raising this cute girl, upon careful consideration, it's very enjoyable. The armored convoy was moving rapidly, and Yin Feng became calm. He secretly glanced at Zhao Yong, his brain running rapidly. How can we lure this guy to spend a total of 48 hours together next? Chapter 4. Cloning Humans. Vegetarians. Organ retrieval task begins. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The scenery outside the window once again made Yin Feng's heart tremble. It was the road he had just arrived on in this new world. The thick smoke dissipated ahead, creating a pit on the ground surrounded by truck wreckage. 3 armored vehicles stopped, and Zhao Yong left a soldier to guard Yin Feng. He himself and the others got off the vehicle to survey. The phone rang, and Zhao Yong's face froze. This was a landline number from the Defense and Military Aircraft Department. The phone is connected. Zhao Yong, right. I'm Li Shaoshan. Hello, Mr. Li. Zhao Yong looked frightened and immediately put his feet together. Li Shaoshan is the Minister of Military Affairs, and he personally called Zhao Yong. It seems that the explosion of this mysterious truck is not simple. You have already arrived at the scene, haven't you? What is the current situation? Yes, Mr. Li, I just arrived at the scene and will immediately transmit the real-time footage to you. Zhao Yong instructed a soldier to control the drone and fly over the explosion pit to take close-up photos of the wreckage of the truck. The video is transmitted in real-time to the large screen in Li Xiaoshan's office. Li Shaoshan watched the video footage with a slightly relaxed brow, but his expression remained solemn. He immediately instructed the adjutant, let them leave immediately, and then picked up the phone again. Zhao Yong, please keep everyone around you away. Let me briefly explain the situation first, and then arrange tasks for you. Yes, Lord Li, I am listening attentively. With a gesture from Zhao Yong, the soldiers around him took a few dozen steps back and turned to stand at attention, waiting for orders. This is a first-class political secret. As a soldier, you should know where the military gap between our country and the powerful country lies. Although our country's technological level far exceeds that of a powerful country, there are very few supernatural beings, and with you, there are only 5 people in total. The abilities of the 5 of you have nothing to do with combat, such as your Eye of Truth, which is only suitable for interrogation. There are over 100 superpowers in the powerful state, all related to combat, and we have very little specific information. The Situ royal family of the powerful state is even more terrifying than the supernatural beings. The Situ family has been harboring thoughts of invading our lingua for nearly 5 years. 2 years ago, a high-tech biotechnology company in China mastered advanced cloning technology and achieved a qualitative breakthrough. The explosion truck at the scene belongs to that biotech company. I have seen the real-time video and can confirm that it was just a new battery explosion on the truck. This indicates that the miniature hydrogen bomb inside the cloned human body has not been affected yet. Now collect the organic debris from the site immediately. This is your most important task. Micro-hydrogen bomb. Although Zhao Yong was confused, he still made a military salute in the air and said, "Yes, Lord Li, I promise to complete the task." Li Shaoshan on the other side of the phone paused for a moment. "Zhao Yong, you are a superpower and also the most important talent in our country. What I want to tell you next is that you must not reveal a word to the public." "I understand." From Li Shaoshan's serious tone, Zhao Yong felt that the truth is not simple, it is a big matter related to national destiny. As a passionate soldier, being able to do great things for the country will be his highest honor. Not only can one achieve promotion and wealth, but they can also grasp higher-level secrets. Even if you defect to the enemy in the future, you can still have some chips. Zhao Yong, now you have been promoted to the position of Special Commissioner of the National Security Military Aircraft Department. Your actions will fully represent me, and in the future, you will only be responsible to me. The clone transported by the explosive truck was specially customized by a mysterious international consortium last year. According to our country's powerful espionage agency, the consortium belongs directly to the royal family of the powerful state, and the target of cloning is the second prince of the powerful state, Situ Min. Situ Min possesses mysterious spiritual powers and is also the most likely person to become the next emperor. But this second prince has been indulging in debauchery and indulgence all day, suffering from a strange disease. Several important organs are increasingly failing, and he needs to transplant new organs from cloned humans to continue his life. As is well known, clones in film and television works have the same appearance and body as the original owner, as well as their own independent soul, making them another living person. In reality, this is not the case at all. The cloned humans created by our country's technology have been further perfected based on the original gene. That is to say, the clone of the second prince of Quanghua is the most perfect physical state of Situ Min, whether in appearance, physique, or all the internal organs, far surpassing Situ Min himself. However, that clone can only survive in a vegetative state, with no brain function, let alone possessing a soul. It relies solely on nutrient fluids to maintain its most basic vital signs. Rather than saying, it is a person, it is more like a container carrying various fresh internal organs. Just half a year ago, China's Military Science and Technology Department had just mastered micronuclear fusion technology and spent a lot of money, resources, and manpower to create a precious micro-hydrogen bomb. Through special technical means, it was placed in the liver of this cloned human. After Situ Min's liver transplant is completed, this hydrogen bomb will be triggered and detonated at any time, and its power can destroy the entire palace of Quangua. At present, the two countries are in a stage of military friction with cold weapons, and the powerful countries have been eyeing our country. There is a great possibility of sending troops to invade in the near future. We are going to pose a potential threat to the Situ royal family. If they invade our country, we will immediately detonate hydrogen bombs remotely, taking down the entire palace and all domestic officials in one fell swoop. This will completely destroy the power of the ruling country. Li Xiaoshan gritted his teeth and said these words, causing a huge wave in Zhao Yong's heart. He covered his mouth and whispered. Mr. Li, are you asking me to collect fragments of cloned human tissue that have been blown up? Does the country want to recycle this miniature hydrogen bomb? Yes. Li Xiaoshan felt a little helpless. The scientist who mastered the core technology of micro-hydrogen bombs suddenly had a heart attack the day before yesterday and passed away. That is to say, we will never be able to make a second miniature hydrogen bomb again. At present, Situ Min's clone bots still have a stock, and it is necessary to find the liver tissue that was shattered on site and reinsert the original miniature hydrogen bomb. The plan must continue to be smoothly implemented, otherwise we cannot resist the military aggression of the powerful country no matter what. You must collect all the human tissue fragments from the scene. Zhao Yong's whole body began to tremble slightly, and he felt in his heart that the responsibility he bore was too great. Yes. I promise to complete the task. But I only have less than 20 people, so I don't have enough manpower. Don't worry about this, I have sent you a team of 50 people and an expert. They will obey you and should arrive at the scene soon. 20 minutes after hanging up the phone, Zhao Yong heard the roar of the engine coming from afar. 4 large transport helicopters appeared in view. Descend sequentially. A dignified female soldier descended from the helicopter at the forefront. She walked up to Zhao Yong and performed a standard military salute. I have met Mr. Zhao, and I am Yu Meng. I will assist you in collecting organic and biological visceral fragments from the site. Each soldier will be equipped with specialized detection instruments, which can detect any object containing cellular tissue. This is a meticulous task. The soldiers from other helicopters also gradually disembarked, most of whom were female soldiers. Everyone is wearing protective clothing, tightly wrapped. All soldiers stand in line, waiting for instructions. Zhao Yong had a serious expression and held a pre-task mobilization meeting. Yu Meng also gave a detailed introduction to the relevant recycling details. After a command was given, everyone became busy in this area. Sitting inside the armored vehicle, Yin Feng gazed at everything outside and faintly felt the ominous situation in his heart. Recalling the scene when I just traveled to this new world, strange trucks, boxes filled with various tubular objects, and a sticky blue liquid all over, is it possible that the big battle in front of me is aimed at me? Heart language urgently called out, Sister, can you hear me speaking? But there was no sound in my mind to give back. Only a faint blue halo could be felt. The orange plunder progress bar of the Eye of Truth has stopped the countdown. Zhao Yong is over 5 meters away from Yin Feng. The display shows that the plunder is still 47 hours away from success. The handcuffs were firmly fixed on the back seat of the armored vehicle, and the watchman's gaze did not deviate from his own body. It is simply impossible to escape. Trembling and feeling like pins and needles, it's too difficult to endure. 2 hours later. The biological tissue fragments at the scene have been collected and all soldiers have lined up again. Yu Meng answered a phone call with an unnatural expression and whispered to Zhao Yong. Mr. Zhao, just now my colleague from the biotechnology company has restored the internal video of this truck. Send it to me immediately and let's take a look together. The situation is a bit beyond our imagination. Previously, I discussed with Mr. Li Xiaoshan why this truck overturned for no reason and there were no signs of drone attacks around. Even if it is overturned, it will not cause the energy battery to explode. It is obvious that it has been impacted by some force, which is likely to come from inside the truck. Wait for the video in the car to come, and we'll know the answer then. Zhao Yong looked around with a strange expression. Come and take a look at the big screen inside the armored vehicle, it will be clearer so as not to miss important details. Yu Meng was momentarily taken aback, then understood instantly and nodded in agreement. Taking Yu Meng into the armored vehicle, Zhao Yong glanced at the soldiers escorting Yin Feng. You go out first, I'll just watch over this mental illness. Chapter 5. Video Transmission and Problem Discovery. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Mental illness. Yu Meng glanced at Yin Feng with great interest. Then there was a look of appreciation in his eyes. This man is shirtless, with fair skin and perfect muscle lines, exuding charming charm. It's okay, after being interrogated by my eye of truth, this guy is indeed mentally ill. Zhao Yong opened the large display terminal inside the armored vehicle and spoke confidently. We can say whatever we need to say, don't worry about him, he's about to be sent to the mental hospital's detention center. Yin Feng chuckled foolishly, holding thick gloves, he. The orange panel in my mind started counting down again, and the host Zhao Yong entered a 5-meter range. Since we continue to define it as mental illness, that means that no evidence related to oneself was found at the scene of the truck explosion. Although curious about what these people are investigating, it is still better to maintain the status quo. He firmly remembered the instructions from the system sister, let's pretend to be foolish and sell foolishly more thoroughly. Alas, what a pity. Yu Meng felt a little regretful as she understood what it meant to be sent to that place. Zhao Yong took out a cigar and lit it, looking at Yu Meng with a slight blush in his eyes. Yu Meng shifted her gaze away from Yin Feng and calmly faced Zhao Yong, saying, Lord Zhao, I have long admired your abilities. Today, I am fortunate enough to experience them. You called me to come inside the armored vehicle to watch a video, and even separated the soldiers, leaving only one mentally ill. That's the purpose, right? Don't worry, I won't dodge. Anyway, Lord Li ordered me to tell you everything I should know about this matter. It's useless to conceal it in front of your pupils of truth. Subsequently, Yu Meng's expression became unusually cold and stern, with a strange faint smile appearing at the corner of his mouth. But Lord Zhao, I must remind you first that when you activate your abilities, you should be cautious when asking me questions. There are some bigger secrets, and it's better for you not to know. Because it will be forever doomed. Watching Yu Meng's sudden change in state, Zhao Yong felt a faint chill on his back. With a blush in his eyes, he smiled awkwardly. I'm sorry, I misunderstood you. How could I possibly use the eye of truth on my comrades? You are a special envoy from Mr. Li, and I have unconditional trust. The video must be viewed on a large screen for clarity, mainly for comfortable sitting. In this armored vehicle, I have also specially installed a small freezer. Sure enough, there was a small freezer under the side seat. After opening it, Zhao Yong took out 2 cans of iced drinks and a chocolate cone. Yu Meng's cold and stern expression eased slightly. She took the chocolate cone and happened to receive a message from her phone. Thank you, Mr. Zhao. The video happened to be transmitted, so I'll throw it onto the big screen now. The video footage appeared on the large screen inside the car, and the two of them looked at it carefully. Now Yin Feng's heart is extremely complex, both curious and nervous, very worried that he will appear in the video. Yu Meng took a bite of ice cream and a satisfied expression appeared on her face. She was a chocolate fan. The recorder video inside the truck is instantly uploaded to the encrypted satellite. After the truck exploded, the military aircraft department also just obtained satellite access from that company, otherwise it would have been transmitted earlier. Zhao Yong took a sip of iced drink and looked at the big screen with anticipation. The video screen is very clear, with a total of 4 windows appearing, each with consistent time progress. The first window is the driver's front view, displaying the road conditions ahead and the vehicle speed is not very fast. The second window is the rear view of the truck, displaying all the dynamics behind it. The third window displays the entire interior of the cab, with only one driver and 2 uniformed staff members holding no weapons. The fourth window is the scene inside the cargo box. Yin Feng saw the rectangular box that looked like a coffin, with tubes inserted all around and connected to several large jars. There were many incomprehensible data constantly jumping on a row of display screens. Cough. Yin Feng choked on his saliva and started coughing with his gloves on. At this moment, he was a bit excited because he knew that inside the coffin was himself. Moreover, it is still the me before he traveled through time. My identity in the new world will soon be revealed. What exactly is? Yu Meng. I have a doubt. Zhao Yong looked at Yin Feng in disgust, who was still coughing. Mr. Zhao, give this poor young man a drink of water. After finishing this sentence, Yu Meng came to Yin Feng's side. Without Zhao Yong's permission, he gently removed the wet gloves from his mouth and opened another bottle of cold drink. Brother, take a sip of water first to moisten your throat. Drink slowly and don't choke anymore. Holding the drink in her hand, she gently handed it to Yin Feng's mouth and slowly tilted it. Swallow a cold and sweet drink, it is refreshing and transparent. This is the first sip of water he drank while traveling to this new world. It's also the first time I've experienced taste with this new body. Yin Feng looked at Yu Meng with caution. At the age of 25 or 6, wearing a ponytail and a military cap, with smooth and fair skin, a heroic aura between the eyebrows, and kindness in the eyes. Mr. Zhao, the spirited young man won't cough or disturb us after drinking water. Oh, by the way, what were your doubts just now? Zhao Yong felt a bit helpless about Meng's actions just now. Women are just driven by sympathy and can't accomplish anything with just one holy mother's bitch. He spoke at a fast pace, clearly showing some impatience. Why is it so simple and hasty for biotech companies to transport such important clones? At least there should be multiple armed vehicles escorting them, and the personnel inside the vehicles did not carry any weapons. Since he is a clone of the second prince of Quanguo, why doesn't Quanguo attach importance to him? This is not logical at all. Yu Meng didn't answer immediately. She finished the last bite of the cone and opened the freezer to get another one. She needed sweets to activate her brain cells and think about problems. Mainly, there is some dissatisfaction with Zhao Yong. Then he said slowly. Well, this matter is actually easy to explain. The truck's journey within our lingua territory needs to be low-key and unnoticed, it's just a simple logistics transportation. But once it crosses the border, Chuangua's side is on high alert. According to intelligence sources, Chuangua's royal guard personally welcomes it on the border. After all, it is the clone who transported Sitamin, and he may be the future emperor of the powerful country, so it is important to keep it confidential and take it seriously. I believe the royal family of Quanguo has already learned about the news of the truck explosion. Fortunately, the biotechnology company told the consortium that the clones still have a spare item to be delivered in a week. But that spare item, not the perfect form of Sitamin, was supposed to be destroyed. The internal organs of the spare parts can also be transplanted to Sitamin, but the quality is definitely not as good as the first one. The soulless clone container is just some humanoid plants. After listening to Yu Meng's words, Yin Feng's heart stirred up a huge wave. He never expected that he would actually cross into the body of a clone. Chapter 6. The Truth About Car Accidents. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The clone of the second prince of Quanguo was sold as a commodity to a consortium, and if it were sold smoothly, it would probably have no hair left. The fact that clones like myself actually have a backup is simply unbelievable. Clones have no soul, they have been sealed in nutrient solution and exist in the form of vegetative beings, just a piece of dead meat for cultivating fresh organs. No wonder there is no extra fusion memory after crossing over. Daring emotions have no memory at all. Recalling the online articles I read in my past life, this way of traveling is called tire crossing. Normal operation, one should wear it into a woman's uterus and gradually grow up from a young baby. Thinking of this, Yin Feng's back felt cold and goosebumps all over. Trembling, she called out to the system sister again, but there was still no response. This guy is really sleeping soundly, Chow. Yin Feng quickly calmed down and his eyes became firm. He immediately made a decision and implemented it. He shouted loudly, "I am a genius marshal, not a mental illness. I have a big bug in my nose." Then, with a force of 5, he slammed his face fiercely into the bulletproof glass of the armored vehicle. Pang! After a muffled sound, Yin Feng's nasal bridge bone was broken and blood spurted out immediately after. There were 2 more impacts on the left and right faces, and the whole face turned into a bloody pig head. This action startled Zhao Yong and Yu Meng, especially Yu Meng. She looked at Yin Feng's bleeding face with heartache and shook her head helplessly. "Ah, with such a handsome face, it's a pity. Why are you mentally ill?" Mr. Zhao, pause the video for a moment. "I'll stop the bleeding for him. Is there a medical kit on the armored vehicle?" Zhao Yong impatiently kicked Yin Feng and said, "If I get sick again, I'll chop you up and feed the dog." Then he pointed to an area and said, "There's the medical kit." As Yu Meng bandaged and stopped bleeding for Yin Feng, she casually asked, "Mr. Zhao, can you ask your subordinates to take this person to another armored vehicle? This way, he is also safe and won't disturb us." "No need, just let him be here." Zhao Yong's attitude was unquestionable. Without further questioning, Yu Meng wrapped half of Yin Feng's head in gauze and turned it into a mummy. "Brother, don't harm yourself anymore." Yin Feng chuckled foolishly, which was exactly his goal. Temporarily change the face. Even if you appear in the video, Zhao Yong and Yu Meng cannot compare clearly, making it impossible to judge. This method is somewhat intellectually weak, and I don't know if I can get by, but in the current situation, there is no better way. Let's continue watching. Zhao Yong clicked the play button. The vehicle in the video has entered a special controlled highway, and the location ahead is where the car accident is about to occur. Zhao Yong and Yu Meng stopped their small movements, their 4 eyes fixed on the screen, afraid of missing any details. Yin Feng also held his breath, his eyelids not daring to blink. He was eager to know what had happened in the moment he traveled through. The time on the big screen has arrived at the moment of a car accident. The front view video shows that the truck suddenly overturned without any warning. The same goes for videos from a rear perspective. The perspective inside the cockpit is very eerie, with blue light accompanied by small lightning, resembling a shockwave with pressure coming from behind. The driver and the nearby staff suddenly fainted, and the entire cockpit flipped 90 degrees. The first 3 videos all match, and Zhao Yong enlarged the last video separately. The coffin-shaped box emitted a dazzling blue light from the inside, pushing the lid open and causing various pipes to break. Blue light accompanied by filamentous lightning became spherical, and shock waves began to ravage the cargo box, causing the scene to shake violently. "Mr. Zhao, it seems that the problem is in the cargo hold. Everything happened too quickly. Please slow down this video 30 times and watch it again." Zhao Yong furrowed his brows and his pupils flickered slightly with red light. He immediately replayed at the slowest speed possible. Explosion. No, it should be a blue energy sphere, suddenly born from the inside of a coffin-shaped box, rapidly expanding and growing larger. The light ball lifted the lid off the box, causing a muscular humanoid to hover within the light ball, causing even more intense fluctuations in small lightning bolts. All the objects inside the cargo box were in a mess due to the impact. The blue light ball erupted with a greater energy, causing the entire truck to roll over and the rear door to be pushed open. That clone was thrown out. Yu Meng watched the video twice more and sighed lightly. Hey, I always feel that the perfect body of a clone is somewhat familiar, as if I have seen it somewhere before. Yu Meng's illusion also happened to Zhao Yong, who quickly switched the video to the rear view of the truck. At the same time, the subsequent video of the clone being thrown out still showed a 30 times slower playback. The clone was covered in a thick layer of blue mucus, making it impossible to see his face clearly. After rolling on the ground a few times, he lay flat on the road, his blue light gradually disappearing. Mr. Zhao, the clone has been thrown too far away. Can you enlarge the screen? Zhao Yong zoomed in on the area, but the clarity decreased very blurry, and the entire face of the clone became a mosaic. After the blue light ball and small lightning around completely disappeared. The clone suddenly twitched a few times, then moved its head, and consciously got up and started moving its body. Yu Meng's delicate appearance changed greatly and she exclaimed casually, how could this be possible? Zhao Yong's right hand, holding a cigar, also trembled. Li Shaoshan firmly told himself that clones have no soul and exist entirely in the form of vegetative beings. Why did this clone become conscious and behave after the blue light ball exploded? It was simply terrifying. The scene in the video came to a stop with an explosion of white light. The atmosphere inside the armored vehicle began to silence, and at this moment, Yin Feng's mood was extremely complicated. He witnessed the entire process of his journey with his own eyes. The disappearing scene after the video explosion is the moment when he slowly regained consciousness after crossing into the body of this clone. At that time, he was lifted off by the shock wave of the explosion and had already run naked. The subsequent series of plots were all just his experiences. If I had known I couldn't see my face clearly in the video, I wouldn't have hit those few times. It really hurts. However, Yin Feng did not regret it. At this moment, the stone in his heart could be safely thrown away, at least temporarily safe for himself. Mr. Li's judgment is correct. Indeed, the super energy battery was hit by the blue light ball, causing the vehicle to explode. Zhao Yong lit another cigar and said slowly. Taking 3 consecutive strong breaths, Yu Meng choked up and regained consciousness from the shock. The clone of the second prince of Quangua suddenly had consciousness and fled. The miniature hydrogen bomb in his liver was still within our country's borders, which was too terrifying. I will report the entire situation to Lord Li Shaoshan immediately, and we are waiting for the next instructions. Chapter 7. Are you really mentally ill? You are listening at novelfull.audio. The truth of the video has made all the recycling work just now meaningless. The so-called organic biological debris are mostly the remains of the bodies of 2 employees of the biological company. Zhao Yong and Yu Meng, as soldiers, deeply understand that the shock wave generated by the explosion of truck energy batteries cannot harm the clone who has been thrown far away. It fell so hard, how could it still get up and move its body? It's unbelievable. Zhao Yong was shocked and lost in thought, as the cigar slipped from his mouth. Yu Meng dialed the dedicated phone of Li Shaoshan from the military aircraft department, his tone trembling as he said, Mr. Li, the internal video of the truck. Mr. Zhao and I repeatedly played it slowly, watched it several times, and confirmed a terrible fact. So, the clone of Sitamin, who had developed a sense of autonomy, actually started to move. However, it was not affected by the explosion, and it disappeared. The other end of the phone fell silent, leaving only slow and fast gasps. Li Shaoshan was momentarily bewildered, and the Lingua military aircraft department planned a 6-month plan. At the most critical moment, such a strange change occurred. Zhao Yong snatched the phone and spoke anxiously. Mr. Li, it's time to expand the search scope now. Can we immediately send photos of the clone's face from a technology company? Yu Meng shook her head and said helplessly. Situmin's clone was sealed and cultured from the beginning of the cell, completely wrapped in nutrient solution. The biological company would never open the box to take photos. Usually, perspective photos taken with X-rays only show the development of internal organs, so it's impossible to see the true appearance. The real photo of Sitamin himself can be found, but it cannot be compared with a clone with perfect genes. There is a big difference in appearance between the two. Li Shaoshan felt flustered and took out a quick-acting heart-saving pill from his pocket, holding it under his tongue. He slowly spoke. Let me watch the video first. You guys are waiting for my instructions in place. Only you two know about this, don't leak it. The two of them turned their heads to look at Yin Feng, who was covered in bandages, and then looked at each other for a few seconds. With a hint of guilt, they replied, "Obey me." At this moment, Yin Feng's mood felt like a lightning strike, with a miniature hydrogen bomb implanted in his liver that could be activated and explode at any time. What kind of strange world is this, with such morally corrupt black technology methods? It's good to hear Yumeng say that he and the original owner are not the same, otherwise, once the photo of Sitamin comes, it will be too troublesome. Based on all the events that occurred, Yin Feng determined that his clone body was a major political and military conspiracy between the two countries, and gradually analyzed the truth. The use of transplanting a liver containing a miniature hydrogen bomb to blow up the palace of that powerful country is a strange operation that only exists in twisted online novels. His brain began to rapidly recall everything that had happened within a few hours of traveling to this new world after the explosion. I ran frantically along the road towards the city, which was very strange. I didn't see any cars, no signs, and no surveillance cameras. And in the suburbs of the city, one can intermittently see a few passers-by and vehicles. At that time, one's whole body was still in a state of blue mucus, and even if captured by a camera, one's face could not be clearly seen. After being sprayed by the sprinkler truck, just a few seconds after his true appearance was revealed, the group of naked protesters arrived. Then, sandwiched in the center of the crowd, he marched confidently to the bustling road until he met Zhao Yong. Thus, Yin Feng came to a conclusion. After being sprayed with blue mucus by the sprinkler truck, they immediately seamlessly connected to the naked parade team. The self who revealed her true appearance and the clone in the video, to some extent, temporarily, got rid of the connection. The plunder system panel displays the progress of the true tongue power plunder. 0.45 hours and 39 minutes left, and the time is continuously decreasing in seconds. He stole a glance at Zhao Yong, who was standing there with a stunned expression, feeling particularly conflicted in his heart. I am both afraid that Zhao Yong will reveal his true identity and look forward to plundering his abilities. Now the system's sister is in a deep sleep, and can only replenish her energy by plundering the first ability. A blue space appears to meet her. Only in this terrifying new world can there be a true self who can speak, accompany, discuss, and be together. But now that he knows all the truth, if Zhao Yong uses the Eye of Truth ability again to ask targeted questions, he must be unable to resist answering them. The consequences are too terrifying. With his current weak appearance, he could only be sent to the state of power for forced dissection, and his organs were transplanted to the second Prince Sitamin. After death, he did not even have a whole body. To endure humiliation, to use one's brain, to become stronger, the liver has a miniature hydrogen bomb. After the system sister wakes up, we need to negotiate and see if she has any solutions. However, Yin Feng deeply understood one thing. As long as he was still within the territory of this lingua, the micro-hydrogen bomb would never be detonated. Taking advantage of my completely unrecognizable appearance, rushing to a mental hospital is currently the safest way out. We also need to give Zhao Yong a hook and find a way for him to go to a mental hospital to interrogate himself a few times, stay within 5 meters for 46 hours, and completely plunder the Eye of Truth ability. Yumeng, gather the team and stand by first. Zhao Yong spoke with a hint of panic in his voice. Yumeng glanced at the freezer and saw that there were no more chocolate-flavored ice creams left. With a hint of disappointment on her face, she took out a piece of chocolate candy from her military uniform pocket and trembled as she peeled it off, saying, "Well, everyone has been busy for over 2 hours, so it's good to finish the team and rest. Currently, we can only wait for Mr. Li's next instructions." Zhao Yong took out another cigar and said, "Don't get out of the car. Just calm down and I'll go out and give them orders myself. I happen to go out for a cigarette. Don't choke you anymore. Mr. Li will call later, so you should answer it alone." Yu Meng nodded. Obviously she was more averse to smoking, but fortunately Zhao Yong was more conscious. After Zhao Yong got off the car, the plundering panel in Yin Feng's mind did not stop counting down. Zhao Yong only lit a cigar next to the armored vehicle, which was within a range of 5 meters. "Everyone disband, go back to the transportation and rest." Everyone dispersed with fatigue on their faces. "You two, don't get in the car yet, stay here and be honest." The 2 soldiers who were originally escorting Yin Feng were scolded by Zhao Yong and stood still. Yu Meng put 3 pieces of chocolate candy into her mouth consecutively, and her tense expression eased. Suddenly, she grabbed Yin Feng's hand and said, "Are you really mentally ill?" Chapter 8. Be sure to remember this operation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yin Feng, who was struggling to think, was a bit flustered by Yu Meng's sudden question. Seeing Yu Meng munching on chocolate, her anxious mood began to slowly ease. Does she also have supernatural powers? Something similar to mind reading? Can you see through the dynamics of your thoughts just now? It shouldn't be possible. Otherwise, it would have been exposed in front of Zhao Yong. I don't believe you're mentally ill because your silly smile is too deliberate. Women's intuition is very accurate. Yu Meng's words dispelled Yin Feng's doubts a little earlier. She doesn't have mind-reading skills, it's just that a woman's intuition is accurate. But I feel like you've been stimulated by something. Why did you hit the wall? With such a handsome face, did Zhao Yong abuse you? Later, Yu Meng leaned his face slightly closer and murmured softly, Zhao Yong is a pervert who is 48 years old and has always been single. It seems that he doesn't like women. There are rumors that he likes young people. At this moment, Yin Feng felt a bit helpless. Women are women, and in this situation, they still love gossip. The current state of Yu Meng is completely different from guarding Zhao Yong's face just now. It seems that she has a strong aversion towards Zhao Yong. Yin Feng did not answer the conversation, afraid that too many words would lead to mistakes, although he had a slight liking for this woman. When coughing, she feeds herself water to moisten her throat. After hitting the glass and getting injured, she would rather pause watching the video than bandage herself. This feeling of being cared for reminded him of his deceased mother. But after all, she is one of the leaders who came to recycle the hydrogen bomb inside the clone, and she is also a female soldier. She must not be allowed to say anything, as this will allow Zhao Yong to trace any clues and use his abilities to ask targeted questions. Yu Meng's eyes were fixed on Yin Feng, as if waiting for an answer, with a particularly kind expression in his eyes. The hand was constantly being held by Yu Meng, feeling smooth and tender mixed with some small flesh calluses. This was the hand of a soldier holding a gun. After thinking for a moment, Yin Feng slowly said, "Sister, of course I'm not mentally ill. My name is Yin Feng, and I just crossed the blue star and came to your parallel world." He recounted to Yu Meng the paragraph he had been forced to ask with Zhao Yong's Eye of Truth at the beginning. It is not only true but also unrelated to the clone incident. Only by aligning the front and back can it avoid causing trouble. After Yin Feng finished speaking, there was extreme disappointment on Yu Meng's face. She shook her head and said, "It seems that you really have a mental problem. I can't understand a word you just said. What blue stars travel through, aliens only exist in movies." The left hand held by Yu Meng suddenly experienced a piercing pain, and at the same time, Yu Meng withdrew his hand. Yin Feng, with his hands handcuffed behind his back, trembled in pain. After 3 seconds, the pain disappeared as if nothing had happened. What happened in that moment just now? Yu Meng looked at the right hand he had pulled back, his face flushed, and he sighed. Sigh. I don't know what's going on. It's the first time I've had this feeling, and I'm willing to do it. Even if I lose my life by 10 years, I must complete a binding with you. Gazing at the somewhat shy and flower-obsessed expression on Yu Meng's face, Yin Feng couldn't help but feel scared. There's something wrong with this woman. She just said something like a tiger or a wolf and couldn't understand a single word. She's the one who's mentally ill, isn't she? What the hell was that stabbing pain just now? Yu Meng began to caress the gauze on Yin Feng's face with his hands and said, with such a handsome face and a strong royal aristocratic temperament, we must restore it to its original state. Then he lightly tapped Yin Feng's pectoralis major with his fingertips, and her face turned even redder. This action made Yin Feng's heart tingle. Is it so obvious that women are lascivious? Not at all reserved. I have become a pig's head at this moment. Is she still in this state? It's too weird. Yin Feng didn't know what he looked like, because he hadn't looked in the mirror yet. Did he really have a face that could dazzle all women? At this moment, Yu Meng cautiously glanced at Zhao Yong outside the car window. This guy has already smoked half of his cigar, with a heavy heart and a furrowed brow. Yu Meng's expression changed from being a flower lover to a serious mode immediately, and the sincerity in his eyes became even stronger. Yin Feng, Zhao Yong's cigarette is almost finished. I don't care if you're really crazy or fake crazy. You must remember what I'm telling you next. I don't want you to have any problems. Seeing that Yu Meng's appearance seemed somewhat normal, Yin Feng nodded. I am the 6th superpower of Lingua, and only Li Shaoshan knows about this because I am also bound to him. This is my least willing shame. After saying this, Yu Meng tightly clenched her fist. My ability is bind teleportation, which is a junk ability that can cause muscle damage and reduce lifespan. Every time I bind a new object, it will consume 10 years of lifespan, and every teleportation will also consume 1 year of lifespan. Perhaps this is my ordeal. When I held your hand just now, I had already completed a binding with you. Now there is a plum blossom-shaped raised mark in the palm of your left hand, which has become an eternal imprint. In the detention center of a mental hospital, you are highly likely to become their research subject. They will make you test drugs, conduct experiments on you, and torture you into an immature form. After Zhao Yong sent you, in order to deceive you into cooperating honestly, they will definitely treat your injury first, so you were safe for the first 3 days. Oh, maybe I'm too tired. In short, he's about to finish smoking. Remember, once Zhao Yong sends you to a mental hospital, if you encounter danger, immediately use your left thumb and vigorously pinch the plum blossom mark in your hand's heart. When there is pain, the binding sensation between me and you will activate. No matter where I am, I will teleport to your side and then teleport with you to a secret location that I have already bound. This way you'll be out of trouble. Remember this operation. At this moment, Yu Meng leaned closer and even heard an excited breaking sound. Yin Feng, even if Zhao Yong is interrogating you with the eye of truth, and you feel palpitations and discomfort, you must still press the mark. I carry a mask with me, which can hide my identity and teleport with you. As long as you leave him 1 meter away, the function of the tongue of truth will be ineffective. Later, sadness appeared on Yu Meng's face. There is no miniature hydrogen bomb to destroy the imperial palace of the Kingdom of Thrones. Once a war breaks out, I will participate. Anyway, my original lifespan is also running out. Don't worry, even if Lingua falls, you can still live as a citizen of a powerful country. It's better to be an ordinary citizen. Yin Feng rubbed his hands behind him a few times and clearly felt a raised plum blossom-shaped mark on the palm of his left hand. He was once again moved by this woman, but soon came to his senses. On the contrary, the confusion became even greater. Why would a female soldier who had known her for less than 2 hours do this for herself? He needs a reasonable explanation. If what Yu Meng said is true, then in the mental hospital detention center, one can completely get out of poverty. I don't know what secret location Yu Meng will teleport with me to, but it doesn't matter. Even if I fall into the hands of this handsome and beautiful soldier, it would be 10,000 times stronger than being treated as an experimental object. Ringtones, the phone rang. It was Li Xiaoshan who called, and Zhao Yong had finished smoking and was ready to get in the car. Chapter 9. Neighbors in Mental Hospitals. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Yu Meng's expression instantly returned to a cold and frosty state. He gestured to Zhao Yong with his phone, then opened the armored car door and pressed the hands-free button. Mr. Li, Mr. Zhao, and I are waiting for your instructions. On the other end of the phone came a young voice, trembling with anxiety. I am Deputy Lu. Mr. Li Xiaoshan has a sudden heart attack and has just been taken to the hospital for treatment. The current situation is very dangerous. What? Zhao Yong couldn't believe it, his face twisted as he leapt into the armored vehicle and quickly closed the car door. At this moment, at the corner of Dream's mouth, there was an imperceptible slight upward movement that caught Yin Feng's attention. Is Mr. Zhao Yong also next to you? Deputy Lu's voice increased several times. I'm here. Well, it's like this, said Deputy Lu. Before Mr. Li fell ill, he had already made half of the deployment and arranged for soldiers to control all the employees of the biological company. Let Mr. Zhao Yong interrogate them. The main direction of the interrogation was, why did clones suddenly become aware? Zhao Yong nodded and said, understood, resolutely complete the task, interrogate me. There are a total of 180 employees, plus 4 senior executives. When you interrogate, pay attention to the details and never reveal the original owner of the clone. It's a top secret matter like the second prince of Quangua. Zhao Yong was aroused and secretly unhappy. Why should he interrogate so many people? This task is quite challenging. Is there a time limit? Do the interrogation locations need to be within the biotech company? Of course not. Deputy Lu emphasized, this matter cannot be made public, and all departments of Lingua must be kept confidential. This was specially instructed by Lord Li Xiaoshan. Lord Zhao, you can arrange a secret location yourself before conducting a secret interrogation. I only give you 3 days, we must complete all the reviews. The military aircraft department needs a result. Zhao Yong's eyes twitched as if he had thought of something. Oh, Deputy Lu, I can arrange for a secret interrogation in the detention center of a mental hospital. 3 days is enough. Let them vacate 184 rooms to detain employees of the biotech company separately, absolutely safe and confidential, but what about this cost? At this moment, Zhao Yong's heart was filled with joy. Since the mental hospital detention center was built, there have been no real suspect detained. There are currently less than 10 people living in 230 detention rooms. These mentally disturbed prisoners, whether homeless or poor, have been used as experimental drugs. A large number of rooms have been idle all along, and taking advantage of the current excellent opportunity, one can just make a fortune. Anyway, it's all owned by my own relatives. My brother-in-law takes the small head and I take the big head myself. Vice Admiral Lu became excited and said, Mr. Zhao, what other expenses are we considering for serving the country? How much should we spend? I promise you on behalf of Mr. Li Xiaoshan that we will give you a special allowance based on the unit price of a 5-star hotel standard room. Alright Deputy Lu, I'll contact the mental hospital and start executing the task arranged by Mr. Li immediately. Zhao Yong was even more excited in his heart, and he roughly calculated that he could make a lot of money this time. Yu Meng, listen to me. Deputy Lu's tone suddenly became cautious. Mr. Li fell ill just as he had deployed the first half. Before he fainted, he said something intermittently, asking me to tell you in person. Mr. Lee said that after hearing this, you will understand what to do next. You should take a helicopter back to the military aircraft department immediately. Yu Meng felt a bit dazed and glanced at Yin Feng, his eyes very complicated. Yin Feng made no expression and deliberately appeared foolish, shaking his head in head. Got it, Deputy Liu, I'll set off now. The 4 helicopters outside the armored vehicle roared again. The first helicopter that Yu Meng boarded, with its engine fully activated, flew rapidly in another direction. Zhao Yong once again gathered his troops, and all armored vehicles drove towards the direction of the mental hospital. The soldiers on both sides of Yin Feng returned to their positions and stuffed a stinky sock into his mouth, which was very sour and choked tears. Zhao Yong smiled and lit a cigar, as if a small abacus was creaking in his mind. A mentally ill person without identity can be sold to her brother. In law as an experimental product, at least worth 200,000 yuan. This money can be obtained immediately, with one hand handing over the person and the other hand receiving some money. The standard room price for a 5-star hotel is 1,588 yuan per day. Based on the 184 employees who need to be interrogated by the biotech company, nearly 880,000 yuan can be reimbursed within 3 days. This money is divided into 7 or 3 parts with my brother. In law, and there is nothing wrong with it. The only thing that made me unhappy was that it was quite troublesome to reimburse the money and I couldn't get it back then. Zhao Yong glanced at Yin Feng again. It was a readily available 200,000 yuan in front of him. A mouthful of thick smoke sprayed onto Yin Feng's face. Kid, do socks smell sour and refreshing? Can you promise not to talk nonsense anymore? Forget it, take it off for him. If he gets sick again, plug him up. These socks are too smelly, throw them out quickly. Just as the socks were taken out, Yin Fengxiang suppressed the churning in his stomach and forcefully held them back. He could only remain silent for now. The convoy quickly arrived at the entrance of the mental hospital, and all the soldiers got off and stood in line. Zhao Yong solemnly began giving orders. Shangfeng has assigned an important task to coordinate with the brothers of the military aircraft department to detain 184 special suspects. After arranging, other soldiers waited at the door for the escort vehicle, and Zhao Yong alone led Yin Feng to the office building of the mental hospital. Handcuffing Yin Feng onto a chair in the hallway, Zhao Yong pushed open the door to the dean's office. Dean Wang Meng understood Zhao Yong's intention and danced excitedly. Uncle, do more good things like this in the future. You are currently catching spies in the capital and encountering many unidentified people. I am currently short of such experimental items. I'll transfer 200,000 yuan to you right away. Hee, this person can still sell organs even if they die from the experiment. I'll give you a share of the money later. Watching his bank card balance increase by 200,000 yuan, Zhao Yong smiled and said, "The Lu Chao I gave you last week, please don't give him any medication. Although this guy has traveled from the Perth, he has a status." Wang Meng nodded and said, I have some information. He is suspected of illegally lending high-interest loans and has suddenly gone crazy. He is being treated in our hospital and has been detained in a detention center. His family can visit him via video. Zhao Yong put away his smile and said, money comes from making money. I still have to take matters seriously. Can you arrange for someone to assist those 184 suspects in settling in? I'll be busy next. Don't worry, arrange it immediately. In 20 minutes Yin Feng's injured face was reprocessed by the doctor and then placed in a detention center. Now he is a mental illness suspect in custody and has not yet entered the drug testing stage. Zhao Yong and Wang Meng are still quite cautious in their actions. They will first treat the injury on his face and then detain him for a week as usual. If no one reports missing from the outside world, it is necessary to make sure that this guy is not under his control in order to truly take action against Yin Feng. We must ensure that there is no risk. Yin Feng guessed their thoughts and became even more calm. Looking around the detention center room, it was all made of soft materials, but not soundproof. You could vaguely hear a man shouting in the adjacent room. "Damn it, break the system. Don't shout in my mind, okay? This is not the Earth, where can I find the 4 great classical novels of China?" Chapter 10. How to deal with the detonation device of a micronuclear bomb. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The man continued to scream, his voice becoming increasingly harsh. "I've traveled to this unlucky place, with 2 memories in my mind, what a mess I've made. Your broken system keeps urging me to complete tasks, repeating them coldly every day, like a robot with no interaction with me. Can you give me an explanation for the special question I asked you? I really want my wife and children on Earth, but in new memories, I have several lovers in this world, and I am still a scumbag who takes high-interest loans. I am going to collapse. Where are the 4 great classics here? I've only watched the TV series Journey to the West, how can I complete the task?" At this point, Yin Feng heard the rough sound of the door opening again, and 2 security personnel went in and started cursing directly. "Lu Chao, who fucks your grandma, are you crazy and annoyed at this time every day? Do you still want to try the taste of an electric stick and shut up? Brother, don't talk nonsense to him. Just use an electric baton to knock him unconscious, so as not to let his chatter affect our ability to watch Master Joker's program." The man suddenly fell silent, and then the security personnel forcefully closed the door. There was no sound from the adjacent rooms anymore. Although this crazy person named Lu Chao said a lot of incomprehensible things, the 2 key words still stirred up waves in Yin Feng's heart. The terms time travel and system are closely related to one's own experiences. It can be concluded that what he said is true, and this man is also a traveler. He traveled to a real person in this parallel universe, so he carried 2 fused memories. Unlike crossing into a soulless clone, it's just a single past life memory. Furthermore, it further confirms that he also awakened a system, and after crossing it, he must awaken the system, which is a constant rule. Based on his inexplicable words, his system lacks intelligence and only releases tasks coldly every day. As for what kind of system it is unknown. What are the 4 great classical novels of China? And where is the Earth, he said. Is it another parallel universe? Yin Feng's curiosity couldn't help but explode. But it also reflects a big problem. In the armored vehicle, the distance between oneself and Yu Meng is clearly within 5 meters. Since Yu Meng also has abilities, why hasn't there been a countdown to plunder in his own plundering system? Can we only plunder Zhao Yong's Eye of Truth before plundering others? Can't we plunder multiple systems at the same time? What if Zhao Yong's process of plundering the Eye of Truth never ends? If encountering other psychic systems again and looking forward to them but unable to plunder them, wouldn't that be very infuriating? At present, there is only one way, which is to try every means to plunder Zhao Yong's true words I first, and then ask the system's sister after seeing her. Furthermore, those 2 security guards seem to be obsessed with listening to jokes. Are you laughing? Jokes seem very popular in this new world. Yu Meng returned to the military aircraft department and was walking down the corridor to Li Xiaoshan's second office. A handsome figure was lingering in her mind. Thinking of this, a silly smile appeared on Yu Meng's cold face. "Hello, sir." The 2 female soldiers across from each other stopped and stood at attention to salute. Yu Meng stopped giggling foolishly. She was stunned for a moment, her expression returned to cold and stern, and she also replied with a military salute. The 2 female soldiers walked away and whispered, "The sun is shining in the west today. It's the first time I've seen Captain Yu smiling. Did you hear that Mr. Li seems to have a heart attack and is hospitalized? Captain Yu is so happy. Huh, you're still young. In my opinion, Captain Yu is definitely in love." Her silly smile is not wrong. Yu Meng realized her mistake and quickly went to the bathroom, standing in front of the mirror. What's wrong with me? Why does the thought of this Yin Feng make my heart beat and face burn, and I feel happy and want to laugh? Why does this feeling become even stronger? Is he okay? It's been almost 2 hours now, why hasn't the censor I bound to him appear yet? I reckon everything is fine with him. He should pinch that plum blossom mark when he encounters danger. Turn on the faucet and clean Yu Meng's face with cold water. She needs to remain calm. I tried my best to think of other things in my mind, to get rid of my longing for Yin Feng. This calmness lasts for 15 minutes. Pushing open the door of Li Xiaoshan's second office, Deputy Lu immediately welcomed him and said, "Yu Meng, how did you come back? I'll quickly explain what Mr. Li said to you and then go to the hospital." "Brother Lu, what is the current situation with Mr. Li?" "The situation is very bad. Now listen carefully. Lord Li's last words to you are, the sunset's afterglow has dyed the earth." Yu Mengxian was taken aback and quickly understood the meaning of this sentence. "Okay, I got it, Brother Lu, go ahead and get busy." Vice Official Lu left with anxiety on his face, and Yu Meng locked the office door and pressed the mechanism next to it. The dark grid slowly opens. Yu Meng entered the Chamber of Secrets and picked up a silver square with an embedded keyboard at the front end. As she groped, she muttered to herself. The setting sun's afterglow dyed the earth like mist, rain, and wind. "Mr. Li, is this the complete password for the miniature hydrogen bomb? You old fox, you only told me half before, and only told me the other half when you fell ill. Are you feeling like you're about to die and asking me to take the final move? After our country is occupied and merged by a powerful country, detonate a miniature hydrogen bomb to create panic. How many ordinary people will die this way? This plan is too disgusting. Let's hide this detonating device somewhere you can't find it. Of course, there is a more important reason. Yin Feng, if I feel right. You should be." Yu Meng closed her eyes and peered into her sea of consciousness, with a remaining lifespan of 9 years. "Well, let's spend another 2 years." She smiled bitterly. "The garbage power I awakened is simply ridiculous." Then his eyes froze and he wore an explosive device, disappearing instantly in place late at night. Inside the mental hospital detention center, Zhao Yong's forehead was dripping with sweat, and he kept dripping eye drops into his eyes. He has interrogated 30 employees of the biotech company consecutively without any progress. A senior executive would rather die than believe that clones cannot have consciousness. The frequent use of the true words "I" 30 times has caused Zhao Yong unbearable suffering. His previous limit was to use it up to 11 times in a day. Zhao Yong plans to interrogate another 15 people tomorrow, and will no longer use the "eye of truth." Symbolically, he will interrogate the remaining people and then hand them over directly. Using the "eye of truth" to interrogate 45 people is enough to demonstrate that all employees of the biotech company cannot possibly understand why the clone suddenly became conscious. After closing his eyes and calming down for a long time, Zhao Yong lit a cigar. The door was pushed open, and Wang Meng burst in with an anxious expression. "Uncle, that Yin Feng has been unwilling to eat. He said he has something important to discuss with you. If you don't see him, he will go on a hunger strike and die."